Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Cove Podcast. It's the first podcast of the hopefully soon-to-be series. We're going to try and make these bi-weekly. I got my boy Holden here.
What's up? How's it going?
Michael.
Hi.
And I myself, I'm Andrew Murphy. We just decided we'd want to sit around, kick it, and talk because the conversations we have, in our opinion, are pretty fucking funny. So, hey, why not? We're going to try and, keep you guys entertained while you're on a drive, while you're doing homework, whatever you got to do, whatever you want to do, and listen to us retards just spit about some dumb shit.
You know, if you're feeling lonely, feeling like you don't have any friends, you can listen to our conversations and, feel like you have some friends.
Yeah.
As sad as that is, that's what we're here for.
No,
That's what all podcasts are here
It's
for.
not sad at all. I listen to podcasts.
Me too.
Okay.
Me too.
It actually kind of gives me something to do other than sit in my room and look at pictures of geese all day.
You
So
forgot.
That's fair, yeah.
You forgot jerk off to geese.
I
mean,
do
that's
that sometimes.
Or jerk
too.
off 10 times in a day.
Oh,
I made it to 11 actually.
great.
You did.
Well, tell
You
us
beat
that
your
story.
record.
Michael.
Okay. So the key to it is you got to have a meal plan. You have to have a plan set out.
A meal plan.
A meal plan. I like to call it a meal plan. It's not really a meal plan, but it's more or less like I don't know.
Like pizza rolls every 20 minutes kind of meal plan.
A little bit, yeah. Well, you have to be nourished too. You have to make sure that you've eaten healthy. Not really healthy. Make sure you're full of food. Make sure you eat enough food that day. Make sure you have a healthy breakfast. Water is your friend because dehydration is your enemy.
What about milk? Doesn't milk help your refractory period? Cum production?
I wouldn't see why it wouldn't be, but it's always nice to have. I mean, you're gonna be there for a while, bro. So you don't want to have like a glass of milk just sitting there getting.
Seems
warm.
like your main concern is hydration.
Hydration.
Right.
I mean, yeah, but it's also about excitement too. So basically, you want to. Obviously, the first time you jerk off in the day, it's always the easiest. No, you can just blow your load really quickly, and it's pretty easy.
Blow your load, hit the road,
Yeah, blow your load, hit your road.
Yeah, come and go.
Yep. And well, the second time, it's probably just about as easy. Like you gotta give yourself a little time. But what I like to do is, first time you jerk off, make sure you drink about a half bottle of water, because that first one, you kind of like go a little bit extra, you burn a little bit more calories, so you kind of got to be a bit more careful,
Yeah, you're excited for the first one. You're enthusiastic. The rest just seem like a chore.
Yeah.
I'd say after 3 it feels like a chore.
Yeah, it definitely is. Wait till you get to 7 though. That's where you hit that wall, bro. No,
What kind of porn were you watching?
well, honestly, man, like I said, it's about excitement too. You got to keep your excitement up. So you have to kind of whatever just gets you going. Like
I have a question. Did you find yourself getting more and more depraved as the sessions went on with your
Depraved.
choices?
Like
Like,
bored?
did you go from vanilla to like piss to like shit to like?
I mean,
Yeah.
porn's
Did you
classic.
get weirder as the nuts got further in?
I mean, I
did you get
definitely
weirder
thought
as the
about
nut
it.
Count grew.
I definitely thought about it, yeah, but I mean, I never did that because I would never be able to look my mother in the eye again. You know what I
Okay,
mean?
out of all the
Fair
categories
enough.
that you watched, what do you feel, in your opinion, you were the most ashamed watching jerking off to? Whether it was the 6th time you came, the 10th time you came, or the first time?
Like, what do you mean by that?
I mean, like, in your opinion,
How
after
weird
watching
did you go?
Okay,
How weird did I
like,
go?
sometimes you jerk off and then you actually, like, sit and, like, watch the porn that you're actually jerking off to or jerked off to, and you're like, what, did I really watch that? Did I just come to that? I feel shame.
Right. Yeah.
Which one was the most shameful for you when it was over?
I mean, are you talking about my 11 times in a day or just in general?
Which
11 times in a
during
day.
that binge, which
Binge,
one
yeah.
was the most shameful?
Probably the time I looked up hot Hermione porn from Harry Potter.
Was it any good?
I mean,
How was the acting?
That's pretty tame.
It
I was
was-
expecting worse.
I mean, honestly, like, I don't really I don't really like, because back as a kid, like, when you're first discovering porn, of course you're going to search up some weird shit, hentai tentacle porn. We've all seen it. We've all
Yeah.
seen it, let's be honest here.
Remember Mayo?
Mayo, yeah.
Remember
yeah,
eel
Kaido.
soup?
Eel soup?
I
Oh,
definitely
God.
did not jerk off to that.
Me neither, but I did see it.
Yeah, that's
Yo.
burned into my mind now.
Oh God.
One man, one jar. That's pretty bad.
Okay,
Anyway,
all
let's get back on topic though. Yeah, I'd probably be the Hermione one, but meal plan. So, first time you jerk off, wait about 10 minutes. Because your refractory period isn't really that long your first time. So you drink about a half bottle of water, wait about 10 minutes, and jerk off a second time. And every time you jerk off, add about 10 more minutes to each refractory period. So, your third one, you're waiting 30 minutes. Fourth one, you're waiting 40 minutes. Okay. After you hit about 5 or 6. I mean, 5 or 6 is pretty hard to get to. It really is. So, but you have an hour once you hit 6. So, like, you should be okay at that point.
I'm curious. I'm going to do the math on this, on how long it would take with your organization of the refractory periods, 10 minutes plus every time. How long?
Wait till I add this. Okay,
sure.
I'm going to add something else. Once you
This
reach
little caveat here.
once you reach your 6th time, coming, you have to I would say wait an hour.
Okay.
So
That's another 10 minutes.
yeah, so you literally have to wait, like, set aside a whole day for this shit.
Okay. We're
Like-
at 6 right now, and that's 210 minutes.
Yep.
Okay.
So you just keep doing the math there. You'll see.
Okay.
But yeah, like I said, water, hydration. Don't drink too much water though, because when you get uncomfortable, like once your stomach gets full, you can't enjoy yourself as much. You need to be as comfortable and as hydrated as possible. That perfect balance.
If you follow the refractory period organization that Michael has laid out for you, including the meal plan, apparently to jerk off 11 times would take you a total of 11 hours, no stop.
Exactly.
What time did you start and what time did you finish?
I started around 10 o'clock that morning and I finished roughly 11 o'clock that night. So it took me about a little over 12 hours.
Okay.
Which, I mean, that's just I didn't follow my meal plan exactly. That's just how kind of how I remember it, because that day is kind of a blur.
What all did you eat that
yeah.
day?
What did I eat that day?
What did you eat?
Well, you can't just like stop and eat something that's just not nutritious. Like grilled cheese isn't gonna cut it. Mac and cheese isn't gonna cut it. You need to eat like proteins, stuff like that. So, like I said, for breakfast I ate some eggs, bacon, orange juice. Orange juice is actually very good. I don't remember if I had any milk or anything like that. Calcium definitely does help. Just nutrition. Eat something nutritious.
Gotcha. So like I should like meal plan ahead of time. Like I should make some leftovers from the night before and put them like, I don't know, in a to-go box.
Yeah, add some greens to that.
Add some greens. Gotcha.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
greens.
I don't plan on doing it, but for future reference, in case I decide to just like shamefully jerk my dick until it's swollen.
In case you have one of those days where you just feel like jerking off 11 times.
I get.
I mean, it worked for me.
What inspired you? What gave you the passion to jerk off 11 times in one day?
I think it's because we had a conversation before that, Andrew. I think it was the fact that I don't remember exactly what went down. I remember we talked about it, and you said, Mike, I don't think you can jerk off 10 times in one day. I think that's how.
I think that's what it was.
And I was just like, bet.
Bet. How many T's did that word have?
I said, I think it's 2.
2 T's.
Two T's.
Okay.
Bet.
All right. So you're fairly enthusiastic about it.
I mean, I had to challenge. Like if I put my mind to something, I'm going to get it done.
Man, I wish I had that much just derivative in my life. Just focus, tenacity, persistence
Me
to
too.
jerk off 11. Well, you proved it to yourself that day, Michael.
Well,
Imagine what you could do if you had that amount of drive, motivation, and persistence towards other things.
you're right. If I spent 11 hours a day doing something else, I'd probably be a master at it in about a month. You know what I mean? Like,
Okay. All right. Yeah, you could teach a class on one of those online classes, or you just rent classes and they're just videos. You could teach
a class on how to jerk off 10 times a
10
day.
times in a day.
I think,
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, like, I think there are classes like that. I think it's called yoga.
Yoga.
Yeah, doesn't yoga teach you?
I don't
I
think.
don't think
I
they
don't think
deal
that's yoga.
directly with masturbation.
I'm sure they cover it.
I wouldn't know. I would not.
There has to be some sort of coverage in yoga when it comes to masturbation in your sex life.
I wouldn't know. I wouldn't. That might be like a midlife crisis, 60-year-old mom kind of question. One of them bitches.
True.
But to get off the topic of Mike jerking his dick in a submission, we're going to tell some interesting stories from high school that many of you, probably most of you, haven't heard these. Mike, you remember that time you shit in a urinal?
Yeah, you bet me.
He was that guy.
You bet me a fat bong rip when we got home.
Oh,
when we got
yeah,
off school that day. You said,
definitely
Mike, I'll give you a fat weed rip if you shit in a urinal.
Shit
And
in a urinal.
I shit in the urinal, man. It's actually pretty tough.
I'm sure it is.
What are the logistics of something like that? Like, what kind of position are you in? How do you get your shit into that urinal
You gotta sit on
safely?
it. Sit on it.
Yeah, but like all that left
There's
over
no
piss.
seat.
Yeah.
Honestly, I wiped it off because I remember I had taken a piece of toilet paper, wiped off that really good, and I threw the toilet paper in the urinal and I shit on top of the urinal. That way the shit wouldn't go down the hole.
But okay.
That way
I
it
feel
wouldn't.
horrible for that janitor.
I mean, they get paid to do it, right?
That's not the
That's
right attitude to
horrible.
have about it.
I mean, if I was a janitor, if I saw shit in a urinal, I'd be like, oh.
Oh.
I mean,
I don't think that would be
I
your
don't-
reaction.
I really don't.
I don't
think you have
believe
the
that.
perspective of a high school janitor looking
mean-
at a shit in a urinal.
They didn't go over it in the morning announcements the next day, so I don't.
I don't think they would have. Excuse me, whoever shit in the sophomore bathroom urinal,
Stop
I
it.
mean-
stop.
They went over people vandalizing, like writing shit in chalk on the walls in the bathroom. So why wouldn't they go over fecal matter in the toilet?
You guys remember when I brought a Sharpie into the freshman hallway bathroom and I drew like this combination of a dick and a lobster? and it was there for like
Yeah,
2
the
months.
lobster cock.
The
I
lobster
do remember
cock.
The
that.
lobster cock. Yeah.
That was legendary.
I remember that time you actually drew on a piece of paper, and then I tore it in half and Holden punched me in the face because you got mad.
It was a piece of art.
Yep.
You
It was.
soiled it, so I had to put it somewhere more permanent. You know, like just
Thank
to
you
admire
for
while you're
that.
taking a shit.
You're welcome.
Yeah. I think there's plenty of times you punch each other in the face and reflect on it and be like, you know what? Thanks, I needed that
Yeah.
day.
Yeah, there was one time exactly I remember in high school where I had actually made a time capsule. I was in the library. Yeah, we had 2 lesbian teachers, Miss Bauer. Well, her name was Margaret Bauer, but she went by Chase Bauer. But of course, you wouldn't call her Chase Bauer because she'd get mad. That bitch was a ticking time bomb. I'll tell you, she was crazy. But yeah, she was obviously lesbian. Probably trans. Who knows?
Who knows?
And then there was Marlena Verhey, who was obviously gay. And I remember writing on a piece of paper, Miss Bauer and Miss Verhey probably have orgies on the Dale. And I rolled it up, threw it in a water bottle, and I got on top of one of the bookcases, and I pushed up one of the tiles and threw it as far as I could throw it. That way, when they remodel or redo the ceiling, at least in a few years, they'll see that. And I even wrote "Class of 2018" nut. That was our signature, the nut.
It was more your signature.
We wrote it all over Miss Bauer's.
Yeah, that was more you and Caden thing.
Yeah.
I didn't do that.
Caden took that to the extreme, though. He would vandalize the school with that, and that got me in trouble.
Yeah,
I
because you were
remember.
you would constantly every day in class, wasn't it like a Spanish teacher's room where you'd write nut on the board and they'd get mad at you about it, and you would just do it again every day.
It was either Miss Bauer or Mr. Harris is who I did it to. I did it to Mr. McCoy one day, but he threatened to suspend me.
What was that thing that I used to draw on the whiteboards that people kept erasing, and then I kept drawing it, and eventually it just stayed there with a circle around it?
I don't
because it was
remember.
iconic. I know it was in a Spanish teacher's room.
It rings a bell.
I think it was. It wasn't Muller's room. Muller would have fucking put me up on a cross.
She had a thick ass.
Oh, she's such a bitch though.
Moeller, if you're listening to this, you're so hot.
God, I hope Muller's
You're
not
so
listening.
hot.
You know what? Fuck you.
Just know that you dated an NFL player and settled on a math teacher.
Yeah, it's rough. You know.
Imagine.
It's a rough go at things.
I guess, dude. It just depends on your perspective.
Yeah.
I mean,
She would talk shit on her husband all the time, so, I just...
she has kids, though. Chicks with kids.
What about
what
it?
is with you and MILFs, Mike?
Dude, MILFs are so sexy. They're so sexy. Something about women who bear children, I don't know.
Because they're fertile?
I guess, I don't know. It's just it's just hot, man. You know for a fact before they took some dick to get that kid. They took some penis.
I mean, that doesn't mean they did it well,
I mean,
You know what's
Shit,
what was surprising to me is the fact that Frank had a kid, and then went back the next year and had another kid. Who would fuck that woman twice?
I'll be honest, man. I think that she was good at sex, and I don't doubt it.
What the? F-
You've been telling me this since high school. I remember you saying this.
You think
and
that
you would try
Frank
to
is
get me
good
to
at sex?
agree
I
with
would
you?
fuck Frank.
Why?
I just think she's really good at sex.
How
Why?
would you-
What makes you
what
say that?
gives you
I
that
don't know.
inclination?
I don't know. She's not that attractive at all. She's got some big titties, and I know it's a Caden thing to say, but you gotta just think about it. I don't know, something about you. I'm sure our listeners understand where I'm coming from.
I don't know.
It doesn't matter how attractive they are. You can just look at them and know they are good at fucking.
That's another conversation I wanted to have, though, about the preference between large breasts and small breasts. Because this has been spoken about in another podcast by our friends Luke Hammett and Shani Donovan, and I thought it was a really good topic to hit on, even though I'm kind of stealing a little bit of content, except we might have a different view of things, different way of explaining it.
I will start with this one. I like large breasts. I
Okay.
like medium-sized breasts. I like small breasts. I like all breasts sizes.
I mean, a titty's a titty.
But the thing about it is, the way it's shaped, the way it sits on the chest, is more important than the size itself. You know what I mean?
I think that's why I'm more partial to... I'm just going to come out and say it. I think small tits are better. Not because they're smaller, but just because generally, more often than bigger titties, they're perky. And that's something that really gets my goat.
I've
I
seen
agree.
some
I
pretty
agree.
saggy small tits.
Have you now?
Yes.
I feel bad for those ladies.
I think Holden has too.
Have I?
At that party.
Gosh. What party?
I'm not going to give the certain person's name, but someone who we know.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Yeah. Oh, yeah. Now I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
You'd call that a party?
I mean, I wouldn't call it a banger, but it was definitely a good time. You know, I got so drunk to the point I was crawling on the floor, you know, yelling, "There's got to be a way out."
Yeah, I remember just like Caden constantly just like filling up Nerf guns and shooting you in the face, and we're all just plastered out of our mind.
Oh, that's the party you're talking about? No, those weren't saggy.
Well,
I didn't see them,
those
thank
are
God.
so saggy. There's like boiled eggs hanging off her chest.
I don't know. Did you see them?
Yeah, I saw them. Remember, she flashed us.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, the day you licked Aaliyah's side or something.
Aside.
Well, I did do that. But
Ooh.
I mean,
And I ate her nipple.
I don't know.
tape.
Maybe we have different ideas of what that means.
I'd say we all have our differing opinions, but I don't know. There's just like I don't know, larger C's. I'm not picky. I'm not a picky guy, but when it comes down to it, you know, I think it's just the attitude of the tits that matters, not so much the girth or the weight or the mass of them.
It's the same rule with penises. It's not the size; it's the motion.
I think
It's
it
the
matters. I
motion
think
in
when
the
it comes to
ocean.
larger tits, I think like it gets more dangerous the larger they get because the larger they get, you know, the size of the nipple really matters. Honestly,
The
like,
areolas.
yeah, like a lot of like larger tittied women have really large nipples, and some of them, like rarely in rare cases, they have small nice nipples. You know what I mean?
Didn't Mallory Musgrove have like Domino's pepperoni sized areolas?
I mean, I wouldn't care.
I wouldn't know. I don't know.
I mean,
Well, she's a mom now, Mike. You might be into that.
oh, dude, I'm so into it. Mallory,
Okay,
if you're listening.
speaking of moms, all right, I want to bring up a good point that my friend Mason has brought up many times on this topic when we've discussed it, and that is that when you're searching for a girlfriend and you're thinking about the breast size, right? The thing you need to consider is if you are looking for a like lifelong person, if you're looking for someone to get married to, and put a kid into, when she gets pregnant, those tits are getting bigger, regardless.
Truth.
But it could also mess up the structure.
That's true. That's why you have to you have to pick. Do you want them big before, big after? You gotta, it's more to consider, you know?
I mean, you can also think about like Miss Murphy. Like, yeah, she got pregnant, but her tits didn't really get that big.
That's true. They didn't really grow in size
And
that much.
her body it really didn't affect her body all that much.
She's a small lady in general.
That's
yeah,
true.
but
To clarify, not Mrs. Murphy, my mother, Mrs. Murphy, a teacher we had who coincidentally had the same last name as me.
Yes.
Yeah.
And now does not.
Mrs. Ball.
Mrs. Ball.
Mrs. Ball.
She downgraded on last names.
She
We used to work
downgraded
with
on
her
husbands.
Yeah, we used to work with her husband.
Yeah.
Yep.
Forget his name. He's real tool.
Yeah, little prick. Talked to him a few times. He just had that aura, like he had a small penis.
Yeah, I walked up to him and I was just like, "Hey man, are you Mrs. Murphy's husband?" He goes, "Mrs. Ball's husband," and I was like, "Ooh, Mr. Ball, ooh, look at you."
Didn't he say like
it's not a slight at you. That's just how I know her.
Right.
So like,
It's like, yeah.
chill.
didn't when you had that conversation with him, he was like, "I expect you to say that you think she's hot now."
Oh yeah, he did say that. He was like, "Yeah, I expect I expect you to be one of those guys that say she's really hot though." And I'm like, "Well, she kind of was, but I'm not gonna say it. Like, I wasn't gonna go off in that."
You should have just been
are
like,
my
"Hey,
boss."
you said it." I mean,
He was my
you said
lead
it.
at that point, so like I'm not gonna say it to my boss.
right.
I mean, at that point, you're just discussing females.
Well, who knows? I probably would.
You know, I don't really see a problem with that. What about alcohol stories? Like, what are some good alcohol stories that we've all experienced together and or alone?
I think we all have something to go on. Why don't you go first, Holden? We'll take turns.
What do you got, bud?
I don't got any alcohol stories off the top of my head. I got to think about it for a second. If
All right.
you've got something, you start out.
All right. There's this one specific time. It's actually the first time I ever got drunk. I was actually over here at Auntie Andy's house.
Stop calling me that. I hate you.
It's gonna happen. Anyway, yeah, I was over at Mr. Andy's house here. It was my first time ever getting drunk. It was actually my first time ever getting high too. I had smoked weed once prior, but I didn't get high, and I don't understand why. I don't know why that works.
That's the case for a lot of people.
Yeah, it happened to me. I think it's just the receptors in your brain don't know what to do with them, and then eventually the synapses start firing after like the second or third time you smoke. You're like, oh, that's what we're supposed to do with that.
Well, yeah, well, so it was the first time I actually got crossfaded. So it was a very confusing just state of mind. I'd never been like that fucked up.
You've never
before.
been in either state of mind before.
Yep, exactly. I've drank alcohol before, and I had gotten kind of tipsy, but I never got drunk. But so we were drinking this Skull vodka. We had a whole gallon of it to ourselves.
I remember that.
But we snuck it out of his parents' liquor cabinet. But this is before his parents started having to mark the bottles, so we weren't like having to.
I'm a delinquent.
We all kind of are in our own right.
Yeah. So we didn't really have to like, be careful about it. So I remember Andrew actually had some purple Kush that he had bought, and this was like really, really good weed.
Oh, it was good, bro.
Yeah. He got some good weed. Now he gets shit. But anyway,
I'm on probation, bro. I don't smoke
that's
weed.
why.
Yeah, that's the only reason why. Literally.
So we were in his dad's like 1970 what?
1968 Galaxy,
19
Ford Galaxy LTD fastback.
It's really nice. It's a nice car.
Many
Too bad
hot
it
box
doesn't
in that
run.
one.
Anyway,
It's just a fuel pump, bro. Get on
it's
with
a
it.
Ford. Anyway,
Shebtard.
at least my car runs.
Mm.
Anyway,
I have no part in this. I don't have any part in this.
so we went there. We went in there, and I started smoking weed, and I'd already started drinking. We were making mixed drinks with that juice. What was that juice? Like pineapple mango, I think.
Was it like actual box juice?
It was box juice. We used to get it all the time.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was just like some generic morning's juice, like get up and go sauce.
Yeah, it was really good. But so we were mixing it with vodka and tequila. I remember we had tequila too, and we were mixing them. And you kept pouring me mixed drinks, and you kept giving me yours because you'd make them too strong, and I would just down in them, and I got fucked up.
Oh, you did.
And we were like, "Hey guys, let's go smoke some weed." So I was like, "Weed." So I was like, okay.
What's that?
And we're like, well, we're gonna smoke weed. Let's go to the Galaxy. We're like, okay. So we got in the Galaxy, and I just start like headbanging. I just start fucking headbanging.
This dude is sitting in the back seat of my 68 Galaxy, nice black leather interior, not a mark on the interior, and he's just fucking bashing his head as hard as he can against the front of the back of the bucket seat.
Yeah,
I
I was in
didn't
the
feel it.
passenger seat, Andrew was in the driver's seat, and Mike was in the back behind me, just slamming his head on my seat.
And
Yeah,
eventually,
that
I was
was-
just worried about my interior, so I was like, you know what? I don't want him to hurt himself and get like a mild concussion because he's crossfaded and he's at my house, and it's the first time he's actually been like decently fucked up at my place. And just conveniently in the back seat, there was this motocross helmet. So I was like, here, Mike, put this on. And then he put it on, and he kept fucking doing it, which is even worse. Like his soft
'Cause
scalp
now-
hitting the back of the
Now
leather.
the visor from the
Right.
helmet is smacking against
The
the
plastic
chair.
visor is like smacked against the back of it. I'm like, okay, maybe this wasn't a good solution. Maybe I should just tell him to stop headbanging. Maybe that'd be better. Maybe that was a first step I should have taken.
Yeah. So
You were trying not to kill his buzz the first time. I respect it.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a good time, but so we decided to get out of the Galaxy. We were done smoking weed. We actually, I think it was a blunt. I don't know. We rolled up something. We were smoking it.
Yeah.
And we went back in, and I'm like, and I remember you were like, okay, guys, we need to be quiet. And I'm like, okay, time to enter ninja mode. So I'm like trying to be stealthy, like going through it, and I start running, and I trip over this big, like this iron hoe, like from like 1800s.
Yeah, dude.
I remember I had smacked my shin against that as hard as like.
Yeah, because we were in the shed, and after we came back from the Galaxy, we went out to the shed to smoke again after we cooled off a little bit. And then I told him, I was like, okay, guys, when we go back inside through the side kitchen door, we need to be quiet. Michael's the first one to walk out of the shed, and it's like pitch black outside. It's covered by clouds. We can't see anything lit by moonlight. And he turns, and he was like, ninja mode. And then he fucking sprints across my yard, makes it about 3 feet before he bashes his leg against this big-ass, sharp metal hoe. And he just fucking eats shit on the ground, and I come out the shed, I'm like, what the fuck just
Dude,
happened?
I had cut my leg so bad. It was so like bruised and swollen. And it was just hurt so bad. But I was so drunk I didn't really feel it at that point. So I was like, okay, so I got back up and you could hear it. It was like a
Oh, it was.
Oh,
it was.
yeah.
And the
I
metal,
heard that
the metal
from across
rung,
the
too.
yard.
Yeah.
It sucked. And then we go back inside, and I'm just being a kook. I'm being stupid as hell. Like, I'm annoying all these guys. Like, at one point, like, you guys start, like, punching me and shit because I'm being so annoying. You guys are like, shut the fuck up,
Sounds
Mike.
like us.
And you're like, you're
Yeah.
being loud, Mike. And I'm like, I can't help it. I'm high. And you're like, that's not an excuse. And you guys are, like, getting all pissed at me. And
It's
I'm
probably not the right way to deal with the situation,
No,
but
probably
you
not.
know, we were like
We were
in the ninth
also
grade.
amateurs,
We're-
too.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
middle school damn near. So, and then I remember you got really pissed off at me, Andrew, and you're like, "That's it, go to bed. Like, lay down, and go to bed." I was like, "Okay." So I lay down. Andrew goes and gets this bag of like potato ripple chips, and he has a thing of onion dip, and he's scooping this onion dip, eating it.
Delicious, bro. I loved it.
And he's just eating it, and then like he throws this orange at me, like a fresh orange from the kitchen. He throws it at me, and it lands on me, and I look and I grab it, and I kid you not, I slung that shit over my shoulder, and it landed right in the middle of his onion dip from across the room.
It was like a...
Yeah, onion dip splattered all over. It was everywhere. And like I didn't even know what happened. And then I heard, "Oh my god, you did not just fucking do that." Yeah. And I stopped and I'm like, "What?" And I get up and you go, "You're being such a fucking dumbass right now." Like you were pissed. Like you were trying not to be loud, but you were loud, it was, and then you're like, "Go to fucking bed right now, you fucking asshole. I have to clean this up." And you were so pissed.
There was white French dip all over my parents' nice artisan rug. Mm-hmm. I was drunk and high. I was not having it, bro.
And you were just, and then I went back to bed. No, I stood back up. I'm like, "I think you're making a mistake here, buckaroo." And he was like, "Just go the fuck back to bed, you idiot. Like, fuck you." And I was just like, "Okay, fine." And I woke up the next morning. Everything was okay.
Yeah, everything was fine. I got the French dip out of the carpet. We were good. Parents didn't question about the missing alcohol.
Everything turned out okay.
Everything fell into place, including the fucking orange in that small-ass tub. I don't know how you just, like, drunken, high, half asleep,
just randomly
grab the orange, just randomly lobbed it over your shoulder, and it goes right in the onion dip.
Well, all right, boys, we've been going about 25 minutes. We're still new at this. We're going to take a brief intermission to check the audio levels, make sure everything's still running right. We'll be back in about 10 minutes. For you, it's no time because we're going to edit this. But yeah, stay tuned for more drunk stories.
Yeah, idiot.
Dummies.
Alright, hello guys and welcome back. We are back with some more drunk stories after many technical difficulties later. So basically, this story takes place at Andrew's house. It was me, him, Michael over here, and our friend Caden. So the night starts out pretty well. We're just kind of smoking a little bit of weed outside, doing our thing, kind of playing some video games, bit of GTA, just chilling, doing what we normally do. But when nighttime rolls around, we decide we want to start drinking a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
We're feeling a bit feisty that night, feeling a bit edgy. So,
a little bit cool.
I looked up tentacle porn.
Yeah, that kind of edgy. That's the kind of mood we were in. So, we go downstairs. We get the tequila off the top of the fridge.
Oh, boy.
Then Andrew busts out a couple shot glasses. And, he starts pouring them up. Caden takes a couple, I take a couple, Mike takes a couple. Everything's chill. We start playing video games again, which is just down in his living room. Mm-hmm. So we were still downstairs. Caden is absolutely just slumped out in the chair. He is engulfed in it.
Homie's torqued.
Yeah, he
fucking
is
torqued.
He's feeling it. He's feeling it right now, and he was pretty juiced. So his mom comes downstairs while we're in the middle of this. This is like an hour after we took the original shots. We went back for some more, and then his mom comes downstairs. Everybody in the room can see her except Andrew. Andrew is facing me, pouring up another shot for me. His mom walks downstairs, and she comes up behind him. Mike is staring at her. Caden's still just in the chair, just rambling about something. And then he tries to hand me the shot. He's like, "Here, take it." And I'm like, "Nah, I can't." And he's like, "Why not?" And I'm just like, "Well, your mom's right behind you."
Andrew, no.
Yeah.
No.
So I think that was the first time we got caught drinking, right?
That was the first time we got caught, red-handed.
Yeah.
There was...
I'm sorry, Mom.
I mean, we've all been caught. I can't think of anybody who's never been caught before by their parents. I can specifically remember the first time I got caught with my mom. It wasn't really with alcohol. She was really chill with liquor, I think. It's really hard to get caught with alcohol, especially if you don't drink it at your own house,
Right.
Only way they can actually tell is if they smell it on you. But
you have to be fucking blasted for it to smell on you.
I mean, I've been
or you have to spill it on you.
My mom's starting to drug test me multiple times, and I've admitted to her that I was smoking weed. So the first time I actually ever got caught in the act, I was living with my grandparents at the time, and I was in the garage smoking a homemade pipe, and I was right by the garage door, and she just walked out, and I just blew a big cloud of smoke out, and then she just looked at me. She's like, "So, what you doing?" I was like, "I'm smoking a cigarette, Mom." And she was like, where is it? I'm like, I threw it under the garage door. And she was like, well, go get it. I'm like, Mom, but it's snowing. She was like, I don't care. I'm like, the cigarette's white. She's like, I don't care. She's like, find it or I'll find it. I'm like, please find it, Mom. Please. She never found it.
Yeah, no, it's because it didn't exist.
It never existed.
Hang on, wasn't there one time where your mom caught you or was about to and you like buried it somewhere?
I'm sure there was.
I'm pretty sure when you were living at your grandparents' house, you like buried some in the
Oh, that's
backyard.
right.
or
I
some
thought you
shit.
put like a bunch of shit in a jar and buried it.
I
under
mean,
some
there
dirt.
was one time where like she caught me. She smelled it and she threatened to like call the dogs, like call like a canine over to the house and shit. So I like buried it, and then like the very next day, I walked up to Andrew and said, "Hey, I have a jar of free weed. You want it?" He was like, "Yeah." And then he called me the next day. He was like, "Hey, I'm gonna go pick it up." I'm like, "But all my family's over, and if you just show up and take something from me, it's gonna be sketch." And he was like, "Well, you owe me sweatpants." Like I left my sweatpants there. I'm like, "Andrew, you've never been here. How would you leave your sweatpants?" And he's like, "Well, I let you borrow them." I'm like, "Andrew, you were way smaller than me.
Oh, wink, wink. I let you borrow some sweatpants, aka give me some weed
To make
in a
a-
sweatpant.
To make a short story shorter, he never got the weed.
I never got the weed, bro. And it, what? Did you
I-
pull it
I
out like
s-
a week later
I
or something?
smoked it.
Of course you did. I mean, like that's what you do with weed. What about that time when we were all just like chilling and I planned in like a week in advance? I was like, hey, let's all come over to my house, like 5 dudes. Let's all just get a bunch of quarters and singles and let's have poker night. And y'all were
Yeah.
down. We planned it out. Everybody came over. We had the kitchen table set up. My mom didn't like us vaping inside the house, but I found a way around it. We're all sitting at the kitchen table, and in my kitchen there's like this small window that's vented. So I took like an old garden hose, I cut it, cleaned it out, and then I vented the garden hose, like ran it into the window, and then I put the other end of the garden hose like on the table, and I started like vaping at the table, and my mom heard my vape going off, and she was like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Don't worry." Grabbed the hose, vaped into it, went out the window. So she was like, "Okay, whatever." So it was gonna be a good night. What was it? It was, it's to name names, I guess.
Me.
Not big names. Holden, Mike,
Thomas
Caden,
Long.
Thomas Long. I'm pretty sure that was it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just us, like us 5, and we were all chilling, having a good time, drinking. I had my little tiny miniature bubble bong, and we were taking rips out of that at the kitchen table, and Mom went to bed. And at one point in the night, Mom came downstairs because I guess we were being a little bit loud. Either that or she was being nosy. But she came downstairs real quiet, like walked around the corner and saw me holding, or no, the bong was just sitting on the table. And she was like, "Andrew, you know I don't like that in my house." And I was like, "It's not mine." And then she just kind of went, "Okay," and went back to bed.
And get this. This is from like an extremely religious Catholic mother who's very against weed.
God bless my mom.
I have never seen someone act so okay with something when they weren't okay with it.
She was
Right.
pretty chill. I think she just like knew that people that I was around smoked weed or whatever, but at that time I was quote unquote not smoking. Well, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
But later on in the night, we started drinking more and more, and we had shots, and I had just like a straight up what was it like? It was a gallon bottle of vodka, right?
It was UV.
It wasn't UV. I did not get drunk off UV that time.
Well-
it was just straight up Skull. It was like
Well-
some really shitty garbage vodka.
Yeah, and let's do a little backstory first. When Andrew gets drunk,
Oh,
he has a weakness. Don't ever hand him the bottle.
don't.
You can hand him shots, but the bottle.
The bottle's bad. Like, I'll just throw it back and start
Yeah.
chugging like it's water.
This Mexican here can chug beer, not beer. He can chug some beers pretty well. He
Yeah.
can chug alcohol so well.
Like
Better
it's-
than anybody that I've ever seen.
I've seen him take a whole bottle of Skull and then just
Other
down
than
it.
Shoe Nice.
Other
Yeah,
than Shoe
other than
Nice.
Shoe Nice.
Shoe Nice, we love you.
Shout out.
Shout out Shoe Nice. But yeah, that ended up happening because shots weren't interesting enough for me, so I wound up grabbing the bottle of liquor and then just throwing it back for like 12 to 15 chugs, and then I put it down and we were feeling good, and I kept playing poker. I don't know if I was winning or not. That whole night after that is kind of like a blur. But
As you would
I
expect.
just remember getting up from the table, not saying anything, and laying down, just splayed out on my hardwood floor in the kitchen because I was just so fucked up. And I was just in the way of everybody. They were like trying to walk around me to get to the fridge and get some drinks or whatever. And then Mike's like, Andrew, you're in the way. I gotta move you. And I was like, don't do it. And then eventually he grabbed my ankles and dragged me like 5 feet across the kitchen. And I was like, and he's like, what? I was like, you shouldn't have moved me. He's like, what do you mean? I was like, get a pot. So he is.
Gets the pot.
Oh my
misses the pot.
Oh, puts the pot next to my head. I try and like grab the rim of it. I was so drunk I missed the pot completely, and it was right underneath me, and I just fucking blacked out. Started puking, half into the pot, half all over myself and on this hardwood floor.
Seizing and convulsing and.
I had alcohol poisoning so bad that I was hiccuping because my system was just not handling it at all, and I would just like every couple seconds I'd go just fucking, it was horrible. It was not good. And then I guess mom had that mother's intuition, either that or she just wanted to be nosy, and she came downstairs again. She saw me on the floor. Caden's in the living room, drunk off his ass again, babbling about some stupid shit in the recliner. Tommy's still sitting at the kitchen table doing something. Holden was passed out on the couch in the other room. Michael, God bless him for this night. Oh my God, it was so bad. I was just laying on my hardwood floor in the kitchen, puking with alcohol poisoning. Mom comes around the corner. She's like, "Oh, what happened to him?" Mike's like, "He had a little bit too much to drink."
Just say it lightly.
To say it lightly, yeah. And I'd been laying on the floor for about an hour then. At that point,
an hour. Yeah, like
about an hour.
This dude covered in puke. He puked on the floor, rolled around it. I had to clean him up.
Oh, it was great.
Take his sweatshirt off, clean his mouth off, just clean all the puke off. I had to scoop his puke up. All right, it was disgusting. I've never done that before. It was still warm. Mm-hmm. Until you feel warm puke.
Somebody else's warm puke in your hands.
Yeah, it's just not fun.
It was not fun at all. But
Does not sound like it.
to make a long story medium-sized, Mom and Michael were just crouched over me, sitting next to me as I was hiccuping, puking more. And Caden got up and went to the table or whatever, and my mom turned around and looked at his sweatshirt, which had the Papa John's logo on it, except it said Papa Bless. Mind you, I hadn't talked for about an hour and a half at this point. I was just hiccuping, blackout drunk on the floor. And I don't even remember this, but apparently my mom asked Caden, what does your shirt say? And I kind of piped up from my drunken stupor. I was like, Papa Bless.
Papa Bless.
That's all I said for like 3 hours straight. That's it. And I had the worst fucking hangover the next day. Good thing I puked up all that alcohol though, because I probably would have gone to the fucking hospital.
Yeah.
That was bad.
I've got another story of you just absolutely chugging alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
So, we were in sophomore year, I think,
Mm-hmm.
and me and Mike went to a concert. We had gone to see Killswitch Engage and Rise Against.
Mm-hmm.
It was our first metal show that we'd ever gone to, so we were pretty hyped. We went to the show. It was a great show. We come back and Andrew asked if we want to hang out. And we're both pretty wiped out at this point, but we have a little bit of vodka that's just in my room. So we're kind of sipping on it, and I tell him to come over. So he comes over, and I'm about to pass out. Mike's in the chair with him, and right before I pass out, the only thing I see is Andrew just chug the rest of this half-gallon bottle.
Oh my God.
It was halfway full when he got
Yeah.
there, and he just had the rest of it. And then I fell asleep very shortly after that. Do you have anything to add to that, Mike? Because you were still up.
To Quads Catron.
To Quads Catron. That was Caden. That was a deadly cocktail.
All I remember from that night after chugging that was you being asleep. I'm in Corbin's chair, and I'm just like vibing out to some music on the computer or whatever, and Holden like pipes up or something. I don't even know if you remember this, but you like turn towards me, and I'm just like rotating in the swiveling chair, drooling on myself. That's how fucking drunk I was. That's the only bit that I remember after chugging that.
Yeah.
I have a bad habit. If you're ever around me and we're drinking, don't let me grab an open bottle. It's
Don't.
just not a good idea.
It will not end well.
Because I get hyped. I'm like, oh yeah, I get to drink. I'm just gonna like throw some back. That'll be it. You know, just like show off a little bit because I somehow have the capacity and ability to drink liquor like it's water, and it fucking kills me every time.
Yeah.
Now, let's go into the story of the Quads Catron.
Oh,
You want to tell it or you want me to tell it?
I wasn't there, so
I'll
this
tell
is
it
all
from
you guys.
the best I know, because I was there.
Okay.
Well, so our buddy
We
Kate.
were both there.
Well, yeah, we were both there, but you know,
Okay.
you more prevalent. I think I showed up later in the night.
Oh.
But Colton and Caden were hanging out one night, and I showed up later. But before I'd gotten there, Caden had decided to go to his parents' liquor cabinet and make the most vile, toxic, hard liquor cocktail that
has ever existed.
that would just extinct any creation of mankind ever. And so this, we called it Tequadzcatron. He mixed Patron, tequila, well, Patron is tequila, but he mixed whiskey, tequila, vodka. Oh God, what else did he mix in there?
Patron, and then he put, I think there was a little bit of Jaeger in there, but it somehow missed the naming process. You know, I don't know how we got that, but
Next thing, well, so like we're all like, he has this full ass water bottle, okay, and one water bottle of hard liquor, really honestly, like most of the time, it's not enough to get 3 guys fucked up.
right.
But you know, so I didn't really drink very much of it. We had beer and shit, weed. So like I just kind of stuck to weed and beer. You
Yeah,
know,
we
really.
both had like 2 or 3 sips of it. I remember, like we barely had any of it.
Yeah, I decided to take a sip of it, and I just was just like,
Nah.
this is bad.
Same.
But-
it was not worth it.
Caden at the time, he was a madman. I remember he had drank most of the bottle. Like every now and then he'd take a big chug, and he had about little under half the bottle left. And I just look at Caden and I go, chug that, dude. And he was like, okay. I kid you not, this guy tipped it back and just chugged it all the way. And it was, I don't know how he did it, but as soon as he got done, it just hit him like a freight train, man. Like he got so fucking drunk. And I remember he's just sitting there on it, like leaning up against his wall, and his ass just drunk, like just so drunk. And I'm playing his Xbox. I don't remember what I'm playing, but for some reason he looked up at me. He goes, "Mike, get off my Xbox." And I was like, why? I'm like, why would I get off your Xbox? I'm playing a game here, man. He was like, dude, please get off my Xbox. I'm like, Caden, why? And I paused and I'm like, what the fuck, dude? Like, no. And I continue playing it, and he goes, dude, please. And I'm like, Caden, what the fuck? And next thing I know, this guy projectile vomits because apparently the TV screen was fucking him up, making him dizzy. I guess it was just too much for him. He just projectile vomits, grabs his like giant ceramic trash can, and he's just Ralphing his guts up in that shit. And then I think the rest of the night he just chilled out. I think he just went to bed after that, but he got a pretty bad hangover the next morning.
Before he projectile vomited, he was walking around the room just fucking smashing into the walls, like falling everywhere, just making the most noise he could possibly make.
I remember that night, actually, he had grabbed a box of Lucky Charms and he was walking through his house. And for some reason they were remodeling, so the whole dining room was empty. Like he was repainting the walls, so like the whole room was empty. They had moved everything out. And he's walking, and this is a modular home. This has a really thin walls, everything's just thin in that house.
And the dining room's right next to his parents' room.
Yeah, his dad's he gets really angry really quickly, especially when you wake him up because he works like 7 days a week. Really hard-working guy, so you don't want to wake him up. You don't want to piss him off. I've done that a few times. I wouldn't advise it. I would not recommend it at all. It's not a good idea. Oh God. Anyway, I remember he's walking with this box of Lucky Charms, and I kid you not, this guy just stops and just face plants into the fucking floor.
Oh my God.
Like just stops with this box of Lucky Charms. He just flat on his face. The whole house shakes. Surprisingly enough, his parents did not get up. I don't know why.
I guarantee they were awake.
I guarantee.
There was just so much noise happening. You're like, oh fuck, I ain't stopping this.
Just fucking kids.
Yeah.
You fucking delinquents in my fucking house.
He just face plants.
We got a bunch of weed stories too.
What about acid stories?
Oh
Just
shit!
acid stories?
Oh, I don't know.
That
If
could get deep if we go into some acid
is
stories.
that PG enough for this podcast? I don't know if the Cove can handle that.
We've been talking about teachers' titties and asses.
You're
Like,
right. At this point, we might as well just set the bar high when
Everything
it comes
is
to edgy
out
shit.
the window.
Yeah, that's
So-
all. Okay, all right. Well, where do you want to start? We have so many acid trip stories.
Okay, I'll start. So one time I was tripping on acid. It was me and Caden, and I think Mike was there, and one other guy who shall remain nameless.
I wasn't there that first time, by the way.
Okay, it was not Mike. It was just me, Caden, and the nameless man. So the nameless man was a drug dealer of ours and a friend of ours that we hung out with a lot. So it was my first time tripping on acid, right? And we're just chilling outside in this little storage shed that he has in his backyard.
Basically, just turned it into a stoner spot.
Right, so we would chill out there all the time. So this was nothing new. We were just out there all the time chilling. And I was in there with just those two people. And at first, it just kind of felt like a weed high. Like after probably 30 minutes, it just kind of started creeping on, right?
Mm-hmm.
About an hour in, it's like you're really high on weed. And here's how I've always described acid to people. It's like a weed high that just never stops going up until like 6 hours in.
Mm-hmm.
And then it like kind of levels off, and
Tapers.
then you start falling off.
It's weird.
It's really hard to explain what an acid trip is like to somebody who's never tripped acid. The best way I can explain it to people is that all your senses are enhanced and a little bit changed in some ways. Like,
and your mind gets caught in these like thought loops.
Yeah.
And
It's not like
once you reach your peak, it's sort of like throughout your peak, as you're going, it kind of goes up and then it levels out, and then you think you're okay for about 2 minutes, and then just tripping balls, and you level
Oh
out.
yeah,
and
I
then
definitely remember that my first time. So
Yeah.
like when you're peaking, it'll like go up and down and up and down. Like you'll feel really high and be stuck in a thought loop, and then you'll be chill, and then you'll feel really high and then a thought loop again, and then you'll be chill, and that'll go on for like an hour sometimes. But
sometimes if it's some good shit, you'll peak for about an hour. Usually when I peak for like 30 to 45 minutes. But it's usually really fun. It's not like you see random purple elephants. It's not like you're actually hallucinating.
It's like you're on this planet. It's just you're thinking really weirdly about things.
And also, like, music sounds better, food tastes better, except to me when I eat food and I'm tripping, textures are too weird and I just can't handle it. I really just can't handle it. But if you're, like, looking at a flag and there's a fan running or something and it's waving a little bit, you can see how it's just, like, warbling and turning and a bunch of crazy. It's not like you're seeing things that aren't there. What you're seeing is there, but it's altered.
It's distorted in a way. It's like
this one. I remember my first
colors
time.
are very much enhanced too.
Colors are beautiful.
I remember my first time tripping acid. Actually, was the best experience I ever had in my entire life. Actually, it was.
Was that with me?
It was actually at Caden's house. So we
I
started off.
remember.
It was.
We had to convince you to even do it. We had to like convince you to try it, which was a bad idea. Don't convince your friends to do drugs.
I mean, it was honestly one of the best times I ever had in my entire life. My first time doing acid, it was really good. I don't know, like I wouldn't say it was life changing, but it just was a really fun time. I remember because it was like mid spring. There was like a slight warmth in the air outside. You know, like kind of like that moist warmth that just kind of feels really good when you're
just
outside.
a bit humid.
And it was getting dark, so it was just a really nice setting. We were on top of this pontoon boat that was on a jack, like on not a jack
trailer,
a boat trailer, yeah. And we were sitting on it, and we were sitting at this little bar table. I remember we had all taken like half a tab of acid, and it was really weird because I had never done acid before, so I didn't know what to expect. And you guys had done acid before, like I know Holden and Caden have. I don't know if you had at the time, Andrew, but you
Was I
weren't
there?
No, you weren't there. But I remember we all took a half a tab of acid, and we sat there for about 30, 40 minutes, and we weren't feeling anything. Like, we were just like, man, like, this sucks. But it was so weird because, I could kind of tell something was happening, but it was really, really weak. And I remember just kind of sitting there thinking, like, everything's just a little bit funnier. You know, I start giggling, things are kind of funny. I just kind of found things funnier, and I didn't understand, like, what was going on. It was just really kind of sucky in a way. It's not what I was expecting, and I was thinking in my head, man, like, this could just be, like, some really weak shit, or it could just not be acid, and it's just something else that's just kind of weak. And Caden goes, you know what, fuck it, man, let's get some weed. So he went back in his house, grabbed his big bong, and we're sitting there, and we all take a bong grip. And as soon as we take that bong grip, I kid you not, this shit just instant trip. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Because when you smoke weed on acid, anyone in this room can vouch, and especially anyone who smoked weed on acid can vouch that it makes it a whole lot stronger.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, when you're doing multiple drugs, like, if you're going to take 2 drugs at the same time, or, like, drink and do a drug at the same time, it's like, the effects aren't, like, added together, they're, like, multiplied together.
So, like, you know, and at this point, like, we're tripping balls, and we're like, oh my god, dude, this is fucking awesome. And for some reason, it was, like, almost pitch black outside, but the moon got really bright, so it was really easy to see outside, because just how bright the moon was. I remember we're walking through, and the air is just so warm, and it was just so comforting. It felt so good. I remember we walked into this back field, and it was cold outside at the time. The lake was frozen over. I don't even know how it was warm, but the lake was his little pond in the backyard was frozen over still. And I remember, I think it was just a warm front that kind of came through that night. I don't remember, but I remember we had got to that pond and we were like, dude, we gotta walk on that. So we all walk on it, and we're
fucking horrible idea.
well, all three of us are on this pond, on
Yeah.
this frozen ass pond, and we're like slipping around on it. We're like, dude, we're Jesus, we're on water. Like, this is nuts. This is nutty. And then I remember laying on my back, just laughing my ass off. Like, this shit is the funniest shit ever. And oh my god, I can't even explain it. Like, it was just so funny. I remember looking up at Caden, and his lips were like bright red, and all the colors just amplified. Like,
Oh, yeah.
a lot brighter. And I was like, dude, this is so beautiful. I remember looking up at the sky and like how bright the moon was, and looking at the clouds. See, the clouds were just turning, and it was so beautiful.
If I could interject, I remember we were in the backfield and his 2 golden retrievers were out there with us.
Yes.
Which made everything so much better.
I laid on the ice pond, and his dog came up and started humping me.
On
Yes,
acid.
on
Which for me was
acid.
hilarious to watch.
Oh, I was
it
like-
was amazing.
Oh, like you can imagine my fear at that
Yeah.
point. I'm gonna get impregnated by this dog.
Yeah,
Like,
that female dog.
I didn't know. I was a newborn baby at the time. You know.
You had just been reborn through
Okay.
your first acid trip.
And then after that, after you had gotten out of the water, or off the ice, I mean, you followed the dog. The dog started walking on the little trail that he has back there, and you started following it.
Kinda. I looked in the distance, and there was like there's a tree line, and it was almost like a little path. From what I could see, it kind of turned into like this mysterious, majestic path. And I remember thinking, I'm gonna go and find myself. I'm gonna go on an adventure. So I'm walking towards this tree line, and I stop, and I'm thinking, oh man, this could just be too much for me. Like I'm about to enter Narnia. This is nuts. And I remember walking back there, and I'm thinking, guys, I'm gonna go find myself right now. This is my time. I'm gonna find myself. And as I'm walking, the dog starts following me, and I stop and I fucking scream at this dog. I'm like, this is my journey. Get the fuck out of here. And this dog, it just looked at me, it just challenged me. It was like, oh really, bitch? Oh really? Like, I was connected with this dog, and this dog's just looking at me like, oh, I'm fucking following you, dude. We're doing this together. And I decided not to do it because that dog's a little bitch.
Mike, that was your spirit guide.
That was-
It was trying to help you.
You
Yeah,
know,
dude.
you're right. You're right.
What the
I
fuck,
should have
Mike?
taken that. I should have taken it.
You could have found yourself.
The dog could have helped you find your way home if you got lost.
You said that. What did the dog say to you in your mind?
It said, I'm coming, bitch. It said, I'm following you, bitch. I'm coming with you.
Oh my god.
That is definitely a spirit guide, and you should have accepted it.
You should have accepted the quest, Michael, but instead you're like, nope, side quest, I'm gonna go inside and shove my face full of bugles or some shit.
It wasn't that.
We stayed out there for a long time.
Yeah. I remember, do you remember just sitting in my room that night, you took 1 tab and I took 4? That was intense.
We've done that a few times, actually, about twice now.
Yeah, well, there was 2 times. There was the one time where, okay, so when you're on acid, you get really, really dehydrated very quickly because your body's just in overdrive, all of it. Like, if you laugh too much, if you're giggling so much, your face gets sore because that's how intense the feeling is. But I just remember Michael being, like, thirsty out of his fucking mind, and he just gets this glass of water, and he's like, oh, okay, I'm gonna go to the bathroom and fill it up with water. And I was like, okay, bet. He comes back with like 3/4 of a glass of water, and I'm like, oh, look how wet it is. I was like, put your fingers in it, and he put his fingers in it, it started to drip, and I was like, oh, that looks dope. And he started playing with this glass of water, and then he was like, you know what, I feel like I'm drinking it, but I'm not absorbing it. And he was like, you know what, I'm gonna drink a new way. This is called acceptance.
It was. I remember he had. I'm
This
like,
is called acceptance.
so you don't drink water on acid. You accept it.
Oh,
It's
God.
it's not drinking. It's acceptance. I don't even know how to explain it.
Is it the implication?
It's the implication of acceptance.
They have no idea what we're talking about. So he just gets this glass of water, and he's just like, I don't know, he's like, it's up to his lips, basically. Like, he's holding it up to his face, and he's like, this is how you drink. You don't drink water, you accept it. Acceptance. And then he just pours, like, half a glass of water on his fucking face in the middle of my room.
I could feel it absorbing. I was absorbing this water.
Oh, thank
Through
God
your pores.
I got it on video on Snapchat, too. It was fucking
Could
amazing.
you imagine doing acid in space, like on the International Space Station?
That'd be too much for me, bro.
Same.
just-
I'd start thinking about how I am not even on Earth, and I
Yeah.
would just flip out.
No, dude. I feel like that would be the best. Oh my god.
All right, so I started a story, we got sidetracked, and I never finished it. So, nameless drug dealer, right?
Yes.
nameless drug dealer. So he is a drug dealer, and he had recently just purchased a gun, and he also had acid and Xanax and weed. These two people said that they wanted to come buy some acid, some weed, and some Xanax, and it was a lot. It was like 2 strips of acid, which is like
20
20 tabs. It was like 4 bars of Xanax, and it was like a quarter ounce of some weed, and
That's a decent amount.
so I'm walking out there with them for safety, I guess. I don't know. Just 2 is better than 1. And he goes up to him by himself. I'm kind of standing back a bit, and he goes up to the car, and they roll down the window. I see him talking for a second, and he hands it to him, and they just skirt away really hard. Like, they drive away really fast. And he looks mad. He looks very upset. And keep in mind, this is my first time ever doing acid, so I was very nervous about the whole situation as it was going down. So I'm kind of freaking out here, like, what's going on? Why is he mad? Why did they drive away so fast? But the guy's parents are going to hear that car just drove away so fast. It was very loud. And so he comes back and he tells me that he had handed it to him before they gave him the money, and they had drove off really fast, and he was pissed off the rest of the night, which is understandable, but at the same time, you kind of fucked up by handing it to him. That's like rule number 1, you know, you don't hand it to him first.
Well, he learned it the hard way.
Yep. So that made the rest of the trip not so fun necessarily. I smoked a lot of weed throughout that trip though, which was a bad idea.
Yeah.
And
I'm sure you had, like, I don't know, the bad vibes are just floating off of him.
yeah, the funny thing is, every acid trip I had 2 acid trips with him that were both, like, not very good, because the vibes were off, I guess. And I guess it was just him, because after he was, like, not a part of our friend group anymore, we had a bad falling out with this guy.
Mm-hmm.
And, so after he was not part of the friend group anymore, I tripped with Mike and Caden, and actually the same story he was just telling was my first time having, like, a really good time on it, with no bad vibes, nothing bad. So I think subconsciously I just knew that he was not a good guy to be around, you know? And it was like the acid was trying to tell me that or something, or it was just bringing that out because I just knew deep down that it was bad, so it just made me think about it.
Yeah, that's another thing about acid. It's like, it just makes you a lot more aware of the people around you and just, like, the vibes that they're giving off. Not in, like, a, what dude, fucking, this radical, bro, like a surfer kind of way, but almost like you can read people a lot easier on acid. And when those people are on acid, it's a lot harder for them to put up that facade.
In situational cases, I think.
Right. I mean, at least for me, like, if I'm trying to put something lightly and I'm on acid, I can't put it lightly at all. I'm just way more blunt than I usually am, and I'm pretty blunt as is.
Yeah.
So, like, even when I'm on acid and I'm, like, trying to tell somebody that I disagree with them, I just straight up can't put it in a nice way.
I'm the same way. I was exactly the same way. Mm-hmm. And, like, this dude had lied about a lot of, like, aspects of his life throughout our whole time hanging out with him.
The first thing he talked to me about was a lie.
Yeah, everything about it. So, like, I kind of knew this deep down, and I guess the vibes were just off. He could not put up the front as easily, like you said, when he was on it, and I could read him a lot easier.
He lived his entire life basically as, like, just the best person ever, but yet he lived in, like, a 2-bedroom house in the middle of nowhere. You know, like, the first thing he ever told me was that he was in sophomore year that he was a star quarterback for Ohio State College.
Yeah, okay.
He brought them to state, which it is their state.
Keep in mind, we were sophomores in high school at this point.
Yeah, and he also told me that he, like, beat cancer. Which,
Jesus Christ,
yeah,
I didn't know that.
He told me that he had cancer and he beat it. He also told me that his dad sold him into the drug cartel and he worked with the CIA and he took down a multi-million-dollar operation.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Okay, so you guys might wonder, how could you not see this from the beginning? And here's the thing, we did, but he sold weed and smoked with us for free, so we kind of just went along with it for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
And then we kind of figured after hanging out with him a while, after him getting comfortable with us, he'd stop, like, lying about everything, you know? Like, he would stop trying to impress us, I guess.
I mean, because we all lie about stupid shit, you know, like, I don't know, like, everyone lies to their friends every now and then, but, like, he just took it to the extreme, you know.
That was when he was new too, so he was trying to make a good impression, but he went about it the wrong way.
He tried to do that with everybody.
Yeah, so basically we assumed he would, sort of open up and just be himself after we were friends with him for a while, but that just never happened, so.
I mean, there was times where, like, I did genuinely care about him in certain ways. Like, I spent most of my time with him when I hung out with my friends. So, like, how can you, like, not grow fond of someone? I was
Right.
kind of willing to look past all that because, deep down, like, when you hang out with somebody, they show their true self just by being around you, And he was a fun guy to be around, but he was so mentally unstable and he just lied so much that, like,
Yeah.
he was almost dangerous.
Oh, he definitely was
He
dangerous.
definitely was.
Yeah, he hung around with the wrong people all
He
the
has
time.
several restraining
I'll be
orders
honest,
against him.
when he got that,
Which he's broken.
when he got
Yes.
that gun, I was kind of happy it got stolen from him
Yeah, me too.
because, like, I knew he was gonna hurt somebody with
Well,
it.
this is the same guy that orchestrated well, it was a robbery. Yeah, was it the same? I think there was a separate shed that you guys moved into that you started smoking weed in instead of the other one in Caden's backyard. But either way.
Oh, you mean when he came by and stole stuff
yeah,
after the falling
yeah,
out?
him
No, that's
and
even
two other
worse.
people. Yeah,
That's even worse. He
mhm.
came into his house and stole everything.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, he broke
walked
into
in.
Caden's house.
Yes.
He got through the window and stole his bongs and all his weed.
Because you knew you
And
couldn't
a
report
safe.
that to the police.
And
You
a
know.
safe.
And he was living with Holden's old bandmates for free, basically. He was living in a room there for free. Wow. I forgot all about that.
Yeah, so Caden's telling me about it at school, and so what I do is I hit up the guy, because I knew him personally, like Mike said, I was in a band with him at one point. So I hit him up, and I'm like, hey, I think one of your boys stole something from my friend. And he's like, I don't know about that. And I said, okay, send me some pictures of the bongs you find in his room. Just show me what pieces you guys are smoking out of. And so he sent it to me. And sure enough, it was exactly what he had stolen, exactly what Caden was missing. And so they, being the good people that they are, returned everything to us, but the weed was still gone because I assume they smoked it without knowing where it came from, you know. And so that was the end of that. I don't know if we really heard from him again after that. We probably did like once or twice, but nothing really notable happened after that.
Yeah, he tried to hit us up a few times, and I don't know. We just
We
kind
knew better.
of told him to fuck off a little bit.
Right.
But let's get on track to something funny. Something not
so serious.
As serious. This is a pretty comical podcast. Let's talk about bad sex stories.
Bad sex.
I got one
stories.
for you guys.
Oh God! Oh, tell
yes,
me.
you
I
do.
got
Don't
one.
say
Yeah.
her name.
Oh,
Do not say
I
her
wouldn't
name.
do that to her. Even though I'm not gonna say that. Anyway,
Ah,
so
Jesus Christ, this is bad.
So there's this girl that I've known for a good part of my life. We went to school together. We actually met in middle school, and
I really hope she doesn't see this one.
I don't mind. And she, at first, she had a really big crush on me. I met her through a few friends, and we dated in middle school. We danced at the dance. The slow zombie dance. Where the fuck that shit is? It's fucking dumb.
Where you just put the hands on the hips
On
and
the
just kind of
hips.
sway.
Yep.
Leave room for Jesus.
That's right.
Put a
Arm's
book,
length.
Put a book between you. Anyway, she in middle school, she kind of quit talking to me because she thought I was annoying after a while, and I was still head over heels for her. And all through middle school, I was into her, and then freshman year came, and I was really into her then. And then after freshman year, during those times, she thought she hated my guts. She thought I was the most annoying person ever. And then I hit puberty, and I guess in her eyes I glowed up a bit, and she really she was really into me, just super into me. But she never really talked about it during high school. I kind of knew, but I was not into her. Well, senior year rolled by, and she was like, "Hey, I really like you. I liked you for a while." And I was just like, "Well, it's too bad. You had your chance. You fucking stomped on my heart. I'm not gonna do the same, but I'm not gonna fuck with you."
Right.
And she, okay. Well, after graduation, I kind of had my fair share of fucking around.
Share fair.
Share fair. That sounds like a company name.
It
Share fair.
does. It
Anyway,
really does.
Anyway, like a
Where you
bank.
share your cab fare with other people.
We just
No,
made a
like
business.
You just
communism.
made a business.
All right.
Well, I was fucking around with a lot of girls at the time, and I was really, really big into no strings attached kind of things. And I had just gotten out of a relationship. It wasn't that long, but I was just really wanting some pussy at the time, and she hit me up and we were talking. We basically got on the topic of fucking, and she was still a virgin, and so like I was down for that. Like virgin sex, it sucks, but it has its pros.
Right.
And so.
Would you mind elaborating on what those pros
are? All right. Well, let's go through the cons too.
Because I am not aware of
You
what
have
they
three
are.
pros and 3 cons.
All right.
Just to make it brief.
First pro, tight.
Okay.
Second pro, you can tell her what to do whatever you want. Third pro, teach her how to give head. Showing a girl how to give head.
Oh, okay.
That sounds like a bad
Yeah,
experience.
I was gonna
You
say,
can
that
get her to
doesn't
do whatever
sound
you want. Just be like, all right, now go deeper. Just shit like that.
I know. I know what you're getting at.
Cons.
Cons. Blood.
Oh, that's a big
Blood.
part of
We'll
the
get to that
story.
later.
We'll get to that later. Blood. I mean, I've taken now 3 girls' virginity so far, and blood's never really been an issue with but it's just still not a good. You don't want to see it on the. You don't want to see that. But second con, we're talking about virgin sex, so
In general.
just not knowing what to do. You kind of want a girl that knows what to do. Third,
It can't be that hard to
probably just laying there like a rock. Honestly, just laying there like a rock.
They're just inexperienced.
Yeah, expecting you to do all the work.
Well, what about when you invited her to a place?
Well, basically, we had talked about fucking a lot, and I always blew her off. I went on one date with her actually, and she, the most annoying girl ever. Super annoying, super sheltered white girl. Just thought being random and annoying was cute and funny, and I wasn't into it.
She was one of those like, oh, I'm so quirky. I'm not like other girls kind of girls.
Yeah, exactly. But she was worse. She was like actually annoying. Like you wanted to tear your ears off because you just could not be around her. Voice was super high and trilly, but we're not gonna go with that right now. But I kept blowing her off after I kept saying like, we're gonna fuck sometime, and she kept like messaging me like, hey, I'm free this day. And she wanted to like plan it out and like make a date for it and shit. Again, that's like really kind of stupid. I think like if you're just gonna fuck, you should be able to hit up a girl and say, hey, you wanna fuck tonight? Yeah, I'm free. Yeah. Or just invite her over and just see what happens, shit like that. I find that a lot more attractive instead of making a date. But she, yeah, after a while we decided to, I went to a party actually. And at the time I had a friend, his name was, well, I'm not gonna go over his name, but he had a rough time, getting women, getting pussy, and she also was really into me. I didn't want her into me, so I'm like, okay, 2 birds with 1 stone here. Let's invite her over and let's see what she can do to Justin. I said his name.
Say his name.
Shit, sorry, Justin. I love you, buddy. Love you. Well, basically, he didn't. It's not really that embarrassing for him, but yeah, he got really drunk that night. It was the first time he ever got drunk, so he kind of fucked his chance up there, and just act like a complete maniac. Passed out, and then the ending of the night came, and I was laying down on the couch, and she got on top of me and was just like, I was blackout drunk damn near, and she was kind of drunk, and she like that girl basically took advantage of me. She was like, fuck me right now. I want you to take my virginity right now. Fuck me on this couch right now. And I'm just like,
Build the setting.
build the setting.
Where
okay?
were you?
I was in my brother's apartment, and that roommate was Justin. It was both of their apartment. We were on a really like nice $3,000 leather couch. Like these guys make a lot of money, so a really nice apartment. Just dark apartment. Just a good setting, I'd say. Everyone's asleep, dead asleep. So she gets on top of me and says, fuck me right now, and I'm like, I don't know, I'm kind of drunk. How about you give me some head first and we'll see then. And she's like, I don't know how to give head, and that kind of pissed me off. So I was like, okay. Finally, she just like grabbed me by the fucking shirt, pulled me real close, and was just like, fuck me right now. I was like, fine. So I roll on top of her and I stick my cock in her and I'm fucking her, we're doing it. I'm really drunk, I'm kind of sucky at it, and then, it's really good. It feels super good, like super tight. I'm just like,
Were you protected?
No, I was not. Condoms suck. Fuck condoms. Kids don't wear condoms. Anyway.
Don't listen to him, please.
Yeah, I mean,
listen to your sex ed teacher.
Just bust and run. That's all you got to do. Anyway, so she, we're fucking, and next thing I know, it's getting really wet, and I'm just
really
like,
wet.
really, really wet, and I'm like, man, like I can't be doing this to her. Like I'm fucked up, and then I'm like, wait, stop. stop. And she was like, what? I'm like, get your flashlight on your phone out. And she was like, okay. So I kind of get up, I kind of pull my dick out a little bit, and I shine that flashlight down, and I kid you not, the darkest, smelliest blood is everywhere. This bitch bled. It's all over me. It's all over her. It's running down my legs. It's running down her legs. It's all over this couch. It's seeping down into the couch cushions. Just this dark, smelly, period blood. And I'm looking down at my dick, and there's literal chunks of this girl. There are pieces of this woman on my dick. And all over, there's just white, just like thick chunks. Like, I would say like half an inch big. Like, oh, it was disgusting. I was just like, what the fuck? I looked at her, I'm like, what the fuck are you on? Like, what the fuck? And she was just like, I'm like, we gotta stop. And she was like, why? And that's what pissed me off. That's what pissed me off. The fact that we were fucking on a couch that wasn't ours, damn near ruined it, and she wanted to keep going. You know, that just was a huge turnoff. I'm like, get off of me. Like, go to the shower, clean up. I'll clean up your period blood, I guess. Bleach the whole couch.
How long did it take you? Like 45 minutes?
It took like 45 minutes. I had to hurry up for that shit dried though. You dried blood on a couch on leather. Oh no, you don't want to fuck with that.
You smell that for weeks.
Yeah, I bleached the entire couch, even the places we didn't fuck, because like, you know, you don't want one spot of the couch looking
Didn't
clean.
you like shove some paper towels like in between the cushions and you just kept pulling out more?
I would wrap my hands in paper towels and just reach down to those couch cushions, and the deeper you got, the wetter it got. It got to the floor, the hardwood floor. Thank God it was hardwood, not carpet. Jesus Christ. But yeah, just she bled like a stuck hog, and then
Jesus Christ.
I swear, dude, it was disgusting. And then like as soon as we got done, she was like, hop in the shower with me. I'm like, bitch, what the fuck's wrong with you? Like, what is wrong with you? You think I want to fuck after that? No. So I lay back down. She gets back on top of me. She's sweating, like you smell BO coming out of her pits. It's just disgusting. And she's just like, I don't even know. She fell asleep, and then I fell asleep, and then she, I woke up to the best thing ever, and she was gone. The bitch was gone, and I was like, oh, thank God. I got a text on my phone. She goes, hey, sorry I had to leave. I had to go let my dogs out. I had a really good time last night. We need to do it again. By the way, I started my period. Oh,
no
you don't
shit.
fucking say, Goldilocks. You don't fucking say.
That's, I don't know, Mike. I don't think any of us can follow that.
No, I can't. I can't follow
There's
that.
nothing to follow there, honestly.
The worst nightmare you could ever have.
I mean, I guess I could, maybe I might, well, okay. First time I had shower sex, I was like, probably sophomore year. And I was with this girl at the time. We had been together for just about a year and a half. And we were doing shower sex. And we weren't supposed to be in the bathroom together at all. She had a 2-story house. And her stepdad was kind of protective. Even though he knew me pretty well and I was basically part of the family at that time. He was just down the hall. And then after we got done doing our thing, we left the bathroom and went back to her room. Both of, our hair was wet. And he came in, he was like, what did you guys just do? And we're like, oh, we took a shower. And you're like, we took a shower? Like, oh, she took a shower and I took a shower, And he was just not having it. Wasn't believing it because it wasn't true. And he knew better and he wasn't stupid. But the whole rest of the night, and I didn't have a license at this time. I was a sophomore in high school, so they had to drive me home. Her and her parents, so... On my way home, he's throwing a fit. He's pissed. He's not having it. He's yelling. He's getting even more mad when she or her mom tries to say anything. And it was just a nightmare. And about, maybe a quarter mile down the road from my house, there was one turn left to go before he saw my driveway. He's just completely stops the minivan, and he's just screaming his head off at her. He's pissed. He's talking like how he's going to beat her ass and all this. And the dude has decent anger issues, just like problems, and he's just raring to go. He's pissed. He's talking about how he's gonna get a shotgun, come to my house, kill my entire fucking family, and I'm just sitting there in the back just not saying shit. And then eventually he turns around, he looks at me, he opens the door automatically with an electronic lock, and he's like, get out. And I just sit there with my seatbelt on because I wasn't going nowhere because I didn't want her to get her ass beat. I didn't want to get my ass beat, but at the same time I'd rather my ass get beat than hers. because of some shit that teenagers do, you know. And he was just pissed. He was not having it. And eventually, her and I both got out and started walking to my house, and he just fucking drove off. And my parents drove her back to her house like an hour later. And that was pretty fucking stupid. But I woke up the next day, and I got a call from him about an hour after I woke up, and he was apologizing and saying all this shit. But, you know, nothing like seeing chunks of a woman's hymen on my penis.
I'm not sure if that was a hymen, man.
What do you think it was?
Dude, I don't know. It's out of this world, though. Extraterrestrial shit.
All I know is that my experience wasn't as bad as yours, and I'm glad to say that.
I still won't talk to this. Oh, yeah, and funny thing after that, I kind of have a grudge against her, so I'm kind of an evil person, you know. I'm not...
You're pretty divisive.
I'm pretty divisive. I have my times, and I messaged her to fuck with her. I said, oh, by the way, since I was super drunk, you took advantage of me. I'm filing charges. And
wow.
I kid you not.
I would not do that. I would never do that.
And she, like, cried her eyes out, told her mom everything. Her
Why would you do that?
Called me, was like, I didn't answer. But then I just literally messaged her like a day later, and I said, JK.
What is wrong with you? Oh my god.
Anybody listening to this podcast, if you see Michael as a sex interest, run.
Seriously.
Far and fast.
I will ruin you.
Oh, emotionally. Let's just put that out there.
That's my mission.
Mike got a skinny dick.
I got a long dick.
You got a skinny dick, boy.
It's long.
Doesn't matter how long it is.
I got that dagger dick.
That young dagger dick. That's my handle, yeah.
It's like number 2 pencils.
Alright, okay. I doubt that.
That'd be funny.
Holden, you got like a horror story involving sex?
They were gag eating pussy or something.
What?
Yeah.
I remember Michael used to hate eating pussy, and I'd be like, why? He was just like, it tastes so salty. And I was like, what do you mean it tastes salty? He's like, just like her pussy, dude, it tastes salty. I was like, Michael, pussy doesn't taste salty, bro. What you're doing is licking up dry piss off her cooch. And he's like, seriously? He's like, yeah. And then like 4 months later he comes back and he's like, yeah, I like the taste of pussy. I ate some clean pussy and it didn't taste like dried piss. And I was like, yeah, no shit, dude. That's not what it's supposed to taste like.
Yeah, I agree.
Changed
I
his
agree
life
with
that
you on
day.
that one.
Yeah.
There's some good and there's some bad out there.
You're definitely not wrong about that. But hey, we've been going for like an hour and 15 minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been good. I hope you enjoyed this quote-unquote short podcast. We'll be back probably within the next 2 or 3 weeks. Try and make another one for you guys to enjoy if you even enjoy this one at all. Not even sure where we're going to upload it yet, but we're going to figure that out. We're definitely going to send out some links so maybe you guys can enjoy it while you're busy not doing shit. Just want to listen to a couple idiots talk about random shit.
And
That's
hey,
right.
if you guys enjoyed it, that's great. You know, tell us what you liked about it. Also, if something you guys want us to cover, have us answer a few questions, do a Q&A. We'd love to do that too.
Absolutely.
The more the merrier. Better, more comments, the best. So,
For sure.
Definitely. It's been fun. I think next week I'm definitely going to cover the topic of my relationship / love-hate relationship with the law. Because I have a lot more experience with the law.
He's a young Latino John Dillinger.
Look, I'm just a delinquent. Don't give me a John Dillinger title. I don't deserve that.
Hopefully in the near future we will also have video podcast going,
Correct.
so you can see us looking stupid and doing the dumb hand gestures that we do while we're talking.
Absolutely.
Also, check out my YouTube channel.
No.
Jewish Caboose.
Don't
Please.
listen to that. Don't give him views. He doesn't deserve it. It's some stupid shit.
Check out the song Arby's on Jewish Caboose. You'll love it.
I hate how you plug everything everywhere.
I produced that one and it's a banger.
It's a banger.
I'll say that for sure.
Also-
it was a good song and Mike bodied it.
Check out our SoundCloud, Craft Singles.
Oh God.
Do not.
Don't do that either. Don't listen to this guy. Okay.
All right. Goodbye. We're out.
Yeah, we're out.